Hey guys, welcome back to K-Pop and Curls. My name is Deandra, and today I want to give you guys 5 tips on how to study Korean more efficiently. So without further ado, let's get started. Tip number 1, don't be afraid. One of the biggest problems I had, and still kind of have because I'm still taking Korean classes currently at college, but you cannot be afraid. I would go into class and be freaked out at the fact that I'm in a new course. I don't know how it's going to be. I don't know how it's going to turn out. My teacher looks intimidating, and so I'm so afraid that I get into my own head that I cannot do it. And that is the number one problem that a lot of people have when they're learning a new language, is that they tell themselves they can't do it. And that's the number one reason why you're failing. You need to have a positive mindset and take in and manifest that you will do well in that class if you just work hard. So when you go into a new class, just be positive, be open to what the teacher is telling you, and take down your notes. You should be fine. Don't let fear keep you from learning the language. Tip number 2, come to class prepared with questions. This is one thing I really took in consideration this year. What I did was, when we were going over the syllabus before the year really kicked off, I bought my resources and started the material for lesson 1 that day. Even though we didn't really get into the material on that day of class, because usually in college courses you just go over the syllabus and then the next time you see the teacher you go over lesson 1. I went over lesson 1 as soon as I bought my books the day of reading the syllabus, because I wanted to have questions prepared for when I come into class the next day, and I wanted to already know what we were learning so I can make myself familiar with it. So typically teachers will ask you to apply what you've learned in class that day. Some people have trouble doing that because they didn't look at the material before they came into class. So it's a lot harder for them to catch on. But what I want you guys to do is look over the material before you come into class so you're able to apply what you've learned. And if you're confused, you pretty much know what the material is about. You have a good foundation, but all you have to do is ask a couple of questions and you're good. Tip number 3, be organized. As you guys will see, I have notebooks with assigned purposes, and I have highlighters and whatnot. Reason being is because you have to stay organized when you are learning a language. You don't want your expression notes to be over here. You don't want your grammar points to be over here, and then you don't know which grammar point goes with which lesson and which expression goes with which lesson. Like, you want everything to be perfectly filed so you can look back at it come final exams and know exactly which is which. So what I like to do personally is have a book for sentence examples. I will write my own sentence examples for a grammar point, and I will also take the book's example sentences and put them in that book as well. I also have a grammar point notebook, and it's really small and cute and tiny. I don't know why I did that, because grammar points actually need a lot of description because it's something new. It's something you're adding to the language. It's new material, it's a lot. So I don't know why I got a little book, but whatever makes you happy. And you want to be very detailed, and also put it in a way, put your descriptions of the grammar point in a way that you can understand. It doesn't matter if your friend understands it, if your teacher understands. I mean, your teacher should understand because you are learning from your teacher, but you want to put it in words that are clear to you. Also, bring highlighters. Highlighters really help. What I like to do is highlight my vocabulary in yellow, and then I think I do examples in blue or pink, and it really helps. Just get highlighters in colors that you like. Color code your notebook, because in the end you're going to be able to identify which is which. Tip number 4, don't be afraid to speak Korean. This is something I still struggle with till this day, because I can't find anybody who would actually want to sit here and listen to me make mistakes. But you have to remind yourself that you're going to make mistakes and it's okay to make mistakes. Fun little fact, when you're drunk, you're more inclined to speak a language fluently because you're not thinking so hard about what's wrong and what's right in the language. You're just speaking it. So don't be too focused on what you're doing wrong and right. Of course, try and get the sentence structure right, but if you mess up, you mess up. Move on. It's okay. The world won't end. Speak Korean. It's okay. And also, when you're just doing everyday life, like if I say to myself, oh, I gotta go to the library, say it in your head in Korean or say it out loud in Korean. I mean, people will probably think you're a little crazy, but I mean, oh well. Say, 저는 도서관에 가요. You know, just translate it into Korean. It makes things a lot easier and you're able to remember things better. You're able to remember sentence structure. It helps me a lot. Tip number 5. Okay, language exchange apps. They really help. My biggest tip is to go on HelloTalk. They're my favorite language exchange app because it couples you with people at your same learning level. You can get coupled. Well, technically you pick who you want to be coupled with on HelloTalk. So you can pick somebody at your same language level, somebody higher than you in Korean, but lower in English, somebody higher in English, so you don't have to teach them that much stuff, and you know, they're still good in Korean. It's very cool app and I love it. It can be really hard to keep conversation going with people on HelloTalk, especially if you guys don't know each other. But what I like to do is talk in Korean and they talk in English. And I think you should set that foundation when you start your conversation with your partner. Say, you know, hey, I would like you to speak in English and I'll speak in Korean, and you tell me if my Korean's correct and I'll tell you if your English is correct. And I promise you, hands down, it'll help in the long run. They get to be fluent in their language, you get to be fluent in your language that you're trying to learn. Also, don't be afraid to call each other. I know it's a little awkward. I would try and get to know each other for 2 months at least. I mean, 2 months is kind of pushing it. You need to try and get to know each other for at least a month to feel comfortable maybe speaking. That's the case for me at least. But with that being said, just make sure that you're communicating with your language learning partner. Don't fall off. Don't just disappear, because that kind of sucks if somebody was trusting you to help them and you just leave without telling them anything. So that's it. Hope this helped. I hope these tips really helped you guys. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you guys have any tips of your own, leave them down in the comments and maybe we can all help each other. If you guys want a more in-depth video on how do I learn grammar points, or what is your best way of learning an expression, or how do I get into the mindset of speaking in Korean, or how do I get in the mindset of thinking in Korean, I can definitely help you guys with that. Leave in the comments down below if you want that, like and subscribe. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.